Our top focus this morning, India and China are all set to hold another round of dialogue. This is the 6th Corps Commander level talks today. The talks will take place on the Chinese side of Chushul-Moldo at 9 a.m. this morning. The MEA Joint Secretary Naveen Srivastava is also likely to attend these talks. Sources have informed India today that we're seeking full disengagement from all friction points. India will also reiterate that 5-point consensus that was decided in Moscow earlier this month must be followed. We've also learned that India's focus will not be confined to the friction areas, but will focus on the entire stretch from north to south of Pangong Tso. The Indian contingent is likely to bring up Depsang during the talks as the area has huge Chinese army presence. Now, even as we are seeing these talks set to kick off in a few hours from now, the army is all set to use double-humped camels in areas like Daulat Beg Oldi and Depsang in eastern Ladakh for transportation and patrolling. The animal that's found at 12,000 feet in Ladakh is natural for the terrain and would soon be used at forward locations. Here's a special report by Abhishek Bhalla.
Ladakh is a treacherous terrain. With troops on both sides bracing for winter, the focus is on beefing up the logistics and ensuring that the supply lines remain open. The Defence Research and Development Organization has now found a unique recruit to help the forces.
At a time when the focus is on big booming guns, tanks and fighter jets amid the India-China tussle, there is also a lot of thinking happening to ensure that these double-humped camels can be deployed in some of the friction areas like the Depsang Plains and Daulat Beg Oldi. These double-humped camels that are natural for this habitat, they are found at areas that are more than 12,000 feet. They can be used for not just patrolling these areas, but also to take ammunition, ration, and be a very crucial part of transport in the Indian Army.
The double-humped camel, found at 12,000 feet in Ladakh, is natural for the terrain. Many of them are now being reared at the Defence Institute of High Altitude Research under DRDO. After carrying out trials and doing a comparative study, it was found that the double-humped camel was the best suited for the conditions.
In our study, which we have just concluded, we found that this camel, which is double hump, and as was expected being a local animal, has come out to be a winner, and it is much better than the single hump camel. It can carry up to about 170 kgs of weight at a height of about 17,500 feet and is a perfect animal for using in the sandy soil area for logistic support to the army, and we will be using it for patrolling also.
While ponies can climb up mountains, they are not swift-footed when it comes to walking on the sandy terrain at more than 17,000 feet. That's where the double-humped camel comes in handy.
This is young Rangoli, a young recruit, just like those Indian Army troops who are trained to go to the forward areas. She too is undergoing rigorous training to be part of the Indian Army, walking along Indian troops in some of the most friction areas like Depsang and Daulat Beg Oldi, where the Indian military has been taking on the Chinese belligerents for the last 4 months. In a few months from now, Rangoli and many more like her will be part of these operations at the line of actual control in Ladakh. With camera person Satya, Abhishek Bhalla in Ladakh for India Today.
There's no end to the political war over the farm bills that were passed in the Rajya Sabha yesterday. The Modi government managed to get these reforms passed in the Rajya Sabha, but the opposition is leaving no stone unturned to corner the government. The Congress Core Advisory Group will be meeting at 4 p.m. today to discuss the strategy for a nationwide agitation. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul, they're not present in this meeting as they're currently abroad. At least 6 ministers of the Modi cabinet held a presser to allay fears of farmers. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh assured farmers that the minimum support price will stay and that the government has fulfilled promises of doubling farmers' income. On the other hand, you had Congress's Randeep Surjewala launching a blistering attack on the Modi government, accusing it of backstabbing farmers. He questioned the government as to how farmers will fight against corporates with these new reforms.
मैं दो टूक शब्दों में तहे दिल मैं देश के किसान भाइयों को संदेश देना चाहता हूं, किसी भी सूरत में एमएसपी खत्म नहीं होगी। इतना ही नहीं, एपीएमसी जो है उसकी व्यवस्था भी किसी भी सूरत में खत्म नहीं होगी।
याद रहे, अंग्रेज भी देश कब्जाते हुए ये कह रहे थे कि हम तुमको मुगलों से मुक्ति दिलवा रहे हैं। आज के काले अंग्रेज मोदी जी की ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी भी ये कह रही है कि ये कानून किसान पक्षधर हैं, उनकी रोजी रोटी जमीन आजीविका छीनकर।
The opposition, meanwhile, is set to move a no-confidence motion against Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh Narayan Singh. Ugly scenes were witnessed in Rajya Sabha when the voting on Farmers' Bill began. Opposition MP stormed the well of the House. You had Trinamool MP Derek O'Brien rushing to the Deputy Chairperson's chair and also picked up the rule book. He claims he wasn't trying to tear it up, but the allegation is that he was trying to rip it apart. The mics on the chair or the podium of the Deputy Chairman were also broken. A total of 12 parties signed a letter accusing the Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman of violating parliamentary norms. The opposition alleged that the Deputy Chairman didn't even try to build a consensus on the issue. On the other hand, the centre has slammed the opposition, calling all that happened in the Rajya Sabha as shameful. Sources have told India Today that the government is likely to move a motion seeking suspension of opposition MPs. That motion will be in all likelihood moved today in Parliament.
Ruckus, chaos and all-out pandemonium. The upper house witnessing dramatic opposition protests on Sunday. Soon after, the deputy chair decided to continue past the closing time of 1 p.m. and put opposition proposed amendments to voice vote after debate which started around 10 a.m. TMC MP Derek O'Brien rushed to Harivansh Narayan Singh's chair and tried to tear the Rajya Sabha rule books. The mic of the chair was also broken during the ruckus. The marshals protected the deputy chairman from heckling. Amid all-out fireworks and absolute chaos, the House was briefly adjourned. When it reassembled at 1:41 p.m., it took only around 10 minutes for the House to pass 2 farm bills via voice vote.
Motion moved that the bill be passed. The question is that the bill be passed. Those in favor will please raise their hands and say aye. Those against will please raise their hands and say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The bill is passed. The bill is passed.
While Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the passing of bill, the opposition called it a darkest hour.
जो सभ्य आचरण एक सांसद का होना चाहिए और जिन पार्टियों बार बार सभ्यता की बात करती हैं, उन्होंने आज सभ्यता को ताक पर रख करके जिस तरीके का कार्य किया है, ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है और निंदनीय है.
Do you regret?
Absolutely. Why should I regret? I'm in the right. You go and ask the BJP. You go and ask the BJP, why didn't they give us a chance for a vote? Why should I regret? What do you want me to regret? That the rules of parliament were not allowed? And 2 opposition MPs broke 2 microphones when this government broke the back of Indian democracy?
The opposition moved a no-confidence motion against the Rajya Sabha deputy chairman.
बिल पर बोलने के लिए कुछ है नहीं, फालतू की राजनीति कर रहे हैं, किसानों को गुमराह करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. आज कांग्रेस का किसान विरोधी चेहरा पूरी तरह उजागर हो गया.
ये गवर्नमेंट हमेशा डोमिनेट करने की कोशिश कर रही है ऑपोजिशन को, अपनी मर्जी से, अपने तरीके से जो भी बिल है पास करने की कोशिश कर रही है जल्दबाजी में, जो हम नहीं चाहते थे.
Initially it was government versus opposition over the farm bills, but once the bill came to vote
At that time, great amount of competitiveness between the opposition parties was also visible. Till now, if the Congress was spearheading the movement with a strong action on the floor of the House, the Trinamool Congress tried to get to the front of the agitation.
Massive protests erupted across North India. Congress too staged a protest in Punjab.
Punjab Youth Congress is protesting against the 3 farmer ordinances and have termed these ordinances as anti-farmer. The biggest fear which is haunting the farmers in Punjab and Haryana is that the union government will phase out the MSP system.
आज मोदी साहब ने इसे अपना प्रतिष्ठा का सवाल बना रखा है. वो पीछे नहीं हटेंगे, चाहे सारा हिंदुस्तान मर जाए, चाहे किसान मर जाए.
However, some farmers also backed the bill, felicitating Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar by tying a turban on his head.
As the 2 bills have been passed, there are a lot of protests on the ground in Punjab, Haryana by the farmers. But here a group of farmers have come at New Delhi. You can see they are very close to the Parliament building and they are supporting the bill. The banner says, Modi ji ko ऐतिहासिक किसान बिल लाने पर धन्यवाद.
Later on, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh allayed fears on the bill.
मैं 2 टूक शब्दों में तहे दिल मैं देश के किसान भाइयों को संदेश देना चाहता हूं, किसी भी सूरत में एमएसपी खत्म नहीं होगी.
With the parliament fight going to the government, will the opposition take its protest to the streets? With Rahul Srivastav, Paulami Saha and Anand Patel in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Actor Payal Ghosh has now decided to file a complaint against filmmaker Anurag Kashyap. Remember, Payal accused the filmmaker of sexually assaulting her in 2014 and has now decided to file a complaint at the Oshiwara police station. Her lawyer has confirmed the actor's decision, adding that the complaint will be submitted this afternoon. Meanwhile, Anurag's first wife Aarti Bajaj has come out in support of the filmmaker. Aarti, in a social media post, slammed those speaking against Anurag, calling it a bid to silence him. She added that this was nothing but a cheap stunt, as the filmmaker always worked for empowering women. Even actor Taapsee Pannu has come out in support of Anurag, but backing Payal, you have actor Kangana Ranaut, who made a scathing attack at Anurag. Kangana accused the filmmaker of cheating all his partners and added that he was never monogamous. She added that Bollywood is full of sexual predators and treats outsiders like sex workers.
His movies are statements against sexism. The women in real life painted as bold, in your face and level-headed. And now, one woman in real life has leveled explosive sexual assault allegations against filmmaker Anurag Kashyap. Actress Payal Ghosh has accused Anurag Kashyap forcing himself on her.
Next day again he called, I went, and that day he took me to another room and there he tried to make me uncomfortable, which I felt really bad, and that is when after some time I pleaded him, please let me go, I'll come back and meet you. And then after that I never went and met him ever.
The actor, however, claims she has no proof of the sexual assault as it took place in 2014.
You can go and see if you can retrieve my deleted tweet. I have tweeted so many times, but I have been forced by my family, by my friends, by my well-wishers from the industry to delete those tweets. And I have tweeted, and then many a times I have deleted those tweets. But I wanted to say this from long time before, and I really wanted to say this, but I couldn't got the support.
Anurag rubbished all allegations, claiming it is a bid to silence him, predicting it is just beginning of a long list of upcoming attacks. Actor Kangana, who in the past had a fallout with Anurag, backed complainant Payal and demanded Anurag's arrest. In a series of hard-hitting tweets, claimed Anurag was never monogamous and narrated her own experience of facing sexual assault.
अगर आप में जरा सी भी शर्म बाकी है तो अभी पायल घोष से माफी मांगो और अपने आप को कानून के हवाले करो। और मेरा मुंबई पुलिस से भी यह आग्रह है कि इमीडिएट, तुरंत, अभी अनुराग कश्यप के खिलाफ FIR रजिस्टर्ड की जाए।
Backing the cornered filmmaker, actress Taapsee Panno took to Instagram to show her support. Taapsee, who shares a close bond with Anurag, shared a picture with the director and called him the biggest feminist she knows. Director Anubhav Sinha also tweeted, saying that an important movement like Me Too should not be misused. Responding to Payal's allegation, NCW chairman Rekha Sharma shared the link of the process to file a formal complaint in the matter.
She has to send me a complaint, which is a detailed complaint where we will look into the matter and will take up with the police.
Payal made her Bollywood debut with Patel Ki Punjabi Shaadi alongside Rishi Kapoor and Paresh Rawal. She was also seen in television show Saath Nibhana Saathiya.
Since the allegations made by Payal Ghosh have surfaced, there are some who are supporting her. There are some who are supporting Anurag Kashyap in this case. The question is whether she goes ahead and files a formal complaint against Anurag Kashyap. With camera person Mangesh Amre, Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai for India Today.
The Narcotics Bureau, probing the drug angle in the Sushant Singh Rajput death case, has issued fresh summons. The NCB has summoned Sushant's ex-manager Shruti Modi and Sushant's talent manager Jaya Saha today. Sources reveal that Riya Chakrabarti, who is currently in jail, revealed names of Jaya and Shruti. The two were, in fact, to be questioned earlier, but the NCB faced a hurdle in its probe as one of its officials tested positive for coronavirus. This delayed their interrogation. Remember, the ED, while recovering data from Riya's mobile, also recovered several WhatsApp chats where the names of Jaya and Shruti had surfaced. Jaya confessed before the ED that she consumed CBD oil and had suggested Sushant also use it for dealing with his stress. Over to the latest on the battle against coronavirus. The national capital is again facing the havoc of corona cases going up. As more than 4,000 cases have been reported in the last 24 hours, almost all ICU beds, most of the private hospitals in Delhi are once again fully occupied. Milind Sharma gets you this ground report.
When 77-year-old Badrinath, a resident of Delhi, tested positive for COVID-19, his family was horrified seeing his oxygen levels fall below 80. After much running around and hospital hopping, they finally managed to get an ICU bed in the Delhi government-run Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital.
हम उन्हें अपनी गाड़ी में लेकर हॉस्पिटल टू हॉस्पिटल घूम रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें बेड नहीं मिले. हम उन्हें यशोदा लेके गए, मैक्स लेके गए, इवन गंगाराम तक में पता किया, लेकिन हमें वहाँ पे ICU बेड्स नहीं मिले. उनकी कंडीशन नहीं थी कि हम उन्हें यहाँ वहाँ गाड़ी में लेकर घूमें. फिर फाइनली बहुत सोर्सेज लगाने के बाद, इधर उधर से पता करने के बाद हमें राजीव गांधी सुपर स्पेशलिटी हॉस्पिटल दिलशाद गार्डन में एक बेड मिला.
The dreaded shortage of ICU beds in Delhi hospitals has returned. Even the premier, AIIMS, the largest hospital, is facing a crunch. Total ICU beds in Delhi with ventilators amounts to 1,264, while available beds are 500, those occupied are 764. The condition is much worse in private hospitals. There are no ICU beds available even in the top private hospitals. The struggle at private hospitals means government ones are overburdened, especially the doctors reporting a spike of 4% in ICU patients in the last 10 days.
Once our hospital was having less than 50 patients, now is going towards 200. Our ICU, which was having less than 10 patients, now our ground floor ICU is full. In coming time, we may get more cases. So we are preparing ourselves, we are increasing the number of beds, but we are hoping that public will follow the corona etiquettes.
The state government says it is trying to increase ICU beds in private hospitals.
हॉस्पिटल्स में पिछले कुछ दिनों के अंदर लगभग 500 से ज़्यादा ICU बेड्स बढ़ाए गए हैं और हमारे लगभग मोर देन 50% बेड अभी हॉस्पिटल्स में खाली हैं।
Patients from neighbouring UP and Haryana have also added to the surge in demand.
If the non-availability of ICU beds continue, there's a fear that Delhi might return to the same situation it was in the month of May that led to loss of many precious lives by COVID-19. Milan Sharma, India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.